Hello, my name is Claire O'Brien. I am an Associate Director of the Career Center at Washington University School of Law in St. Louis, Missouri.
So since 2019, you've served on the Equal Justice Works National Advisory Committee. What motivated you to apply to join the NAC? And how does your work as a law school professional inform your role as a member of the committee representing the Mountain Region?
Yes, so I was actually working closely with a student. I think I had joined WashU Law from practice or I had joined WashU Law from practice in December. I was working closely with a student who was extremely involved in the public interest community at WashU, who had worked in public interest both summers, and who saw the NAC advertisement come up. I had been very excited about Equal Justice Works, learning about everything they had to offer. And as soon as I spoke with the student, she was like, "You should really apply for this." I was like, "This would be a great fit. I would love to be part of an organization that's doing so much for our students that I'm witnessing firsthand through my work as a career counselor."
Awesome. As the Associate Director of Career Services at WashU, you help students pursue rewarding legal careers in public service. What are some of the biggest concerns that your students have expressed about pursuing their public service passions? And what steps can law schools take to remedy those concerns?
Yes, so I think many students who are very passionate about the work are, sometimes their areas of interest are nuanced. So the opportunities can be limited in certain areas, whether that's due primarily a lot of times it's due to maybe funding or grants or outside the organization's control. So I see students come in who have amazing passion for certain issue areas. And I think their concern is, can I make this a career and can I start doing this as soon as I want to do it? So can I start doing reproductive justice work, immediately when I graduate, or will I need to pivot and do something else first to then ultimately work my way to the work that I'm most passionate about? I think that oftentimes this is the age old, all people who are in public service, government work, public interest, funding, and it can often be limited. And finally, I think a lot of students see sometimes it can be the more linear path of firms and sometimes traditionally firms and non-public interest work has been more streamlined and easy in the recruitment process. So as a counselor and professional advising students, I try to be as supportive as possible. I try to help students get as much experience as they can in law school so they can start their career when they graduate. So they're ready to jump into sometimes nuanced or niche fields, ready to hit the ground running, and they don't have to start somewhere else to ultimately get where they want to be. And Equal Justice Works has been amazing at connecting students to people who are practicing in the field. I rely very heavily on Equal Justice Works network, the resources, all the programming that they have to offer, the Equal Justice Conference and Career Fair. Many of the students I advise have gotten post-grad jobs from that experience. So I think just ultimately providing constant support, consistent support, and direction. And the last thing I'll say is identifying the student's passion early on, and then just cultivating it the entire 3 years that they're under WashU. They're in the WashU Law Building. So
That's awesome. So WashU is a little different than other law schools in that all students are encouraged to complete the pro bono pledge by performing 50 hours of law-related public service before they graduate. Why do you think it's important for all law students to take part in these pro bono opportunities?
oh my gosh, that's one thing that I love about WashU Law is yes, every student is encouraged to go out and participate in pro bono experiences. I think it's important because you're actually seeing what's going on in the world. It's one thing to learn torts or evidence or criminal law or, behind in the classroom, right, kind of shielded from how it actually looks in the field. And I think when you're going out in the community and interacting with people who have real legal problems and real legal issues, there's nothing that can replace that. It can confirm to students' interests in the type of law that they want to practice. So some students might think, I want to go one way, and then they participate in these pro bono opportunities and they're like, that was amazing. That is what I want to do. Like what I just did is what I want to do. Direct advocacy work, really real life interaction with real people who are having, oftentimes in crisis, are having significant legal problems.
So they also have the opportunity for students at WashU called the Public Service Advisory Board, which is a student-led board that creates opportunity for public service within the law school and the community and administers the pro bono pledge. How can students at other law schools create a similar program?
Oh man, PSAB is amazing. I work so closely with all the different PSAB members, the PSAB leadership. I give all credit to students. I mean, I think WashU Law has been great. When I joined WashU Law, so when I joined the staff, PSAB was strong. It was up and running. It was kind of like a well-oiled machine. I think one thing that PSAB does that I would encourage other schools to do to support students is empower the students. So currently, the pro bono committee of PSAB is working on revamping the pro bono pledge. So I think WashU Law is great about always being intentional about revisiting and PSAB policies that have been in place. And just because we've been doing this for 10 years doesn't mean we should keep doing it, right? That's what PSAB does. They're always taking a critical look at what can we do to adapt, to change, to the circumstances, not only within the law school, but in the greater community. And I really think the public interest community does that as a whole, always looking at what can we change, what can we make better, and how can we adapt.
Yeah, and in a similar thread, so some law schools are still in the early stages of developing similar programs or even public interest law programs in general. What advice do you give to students who want to become involved in pro bono work on campus and in the community, but don't know where to start?
So I would say go to people in your career services center, talk to clinical faculty members. So a lot of times people in the clinic will have great connections to work that's going on. Get with other law students, whether that be law students in your class, law students I know in response to COVID-19. We saw opportunities from law schools kind of doing grassroots efforts, saying, hey, our students are doing this, we'd love to, and students are saying this, we're doing this work, we'd love for students around the country to join. And then Equal Justice Works is amazing at supporting students. Elsie, they're always trying to give students what they need. So I think if you have an idea, I would say Equal Justice Works. I would say clinical faculty and faculty in the law school as a whole. Oftentimes they have wide networks and can tell you what work is going on in the community. And fellow students. One of our PSAB former presidents just started a group called Power to the Polls. She recognized a need. We need to get people registered to vote. And literally with the help of supportive faculty members, got this organization off the ground. We were out registering people 2 weekends ago. So I would say find people who will listen. I think in the law school community, you'll have a receptive audience, and keep going. Don't become discouraged. If you don't get the answer you want from one source, broaden your network and go on to the next. And really don't discredit your passion or your drive, because there will always be people. If you see the need, more than likely other people will too, and they will help you get an initiative off the ground.
Great. And lastly, as a member of the National Advisory Committee, you've had the opportunity to participate in a number of public interest law events, such as the Equal Justice Works Conference and Career Fair. Tell us about your favorite experience so far.
Oh man, I think I would have to say the conference and career fair, but I know I need to pick one, but it would probably also be tied to NAC, just being on the National Advisory Committee, working with Equal Justice Works. I just respect David Stern, who's the executive director. I respect everyone that I've really had any interaction with at Equal Justice Works. It gives me passion to do what I'm doing. I just feel the one word that comes to mind is support. So being on NAC, also the conference and career fair is literally unlike anything. It's unparalleled. It has helped so many of the students I advise. So many of the students I work with have gotten their 1L jobs from the Equal Justice Conference and Career Fair, their 2L jobs. They've made awesome connections. They've gone on to start doing postgraduate work through their experience in the Conference and Career Fair. When you're there, there's just a buzz. There's just an energy of people who are like ready to go out and make a difference and make change. And there's really, yeah, nothing quite like the Conference and Career Fair.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for taking the time to talk with us today.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.